Hey everyone, it's Haley here from The Foiled Plan. I just wanted to finally make the video that everyone has been requesting, and that video is just basically what you need to know when you're getting started in foiling. So I've been foiling for about 2 years, and I learned about it through Instagram, which I feel like a lot of the people that are going to be watching this video are people who have also found foiling through Instagram and then turned to YouTube to learn a little bit more about it. I am by no means an expert. I'm just going to be offering you suggestions that I've found helpful, because a lot of the things that I do, I didn't actually learn online. I've just sort of learned by doing. Half the battle of foiling is trial and error. So you just have to keep at it and keep trying different things until you get the outcome that you're looking for. So don't give up if it doesn't work the first time, and don't give up if it doesn't work the 5th, 6th, or 7th time. It honestly can just take trial and error until you get it right. So the first thing that I'm going to talk to you about today is how to get started if you're not really sure you want to invest in all of the equipment, or if you're just sort of like at the beginner level and you're not sure if you're going to stick with it or if you're even going to like it, because it can get quite expensive to get into doing things like this. All right, so there is a few things that you do need to get started, and these are things that you absolutely have to have or else the process won't work. So the first thing you need to have is your design, and that design needs to be printed with a toner printer or a laser printer. It's the same thing. So a laser printer uses toner rather than ink. So most people in their regular home offices will have an inkjet printer. If you have one of those, this process will not work. But it doesn't mean you have to go out and buy a laser printer, because even the cheapest ones are still like $150 depending on where you get them. Plus the toner that goes in them can be rather expensive. So if you don't really want to invest in one right away, you don't have to. What you can do is you can create your design and you can take it to your local library. Yeah, those still exist. And chances are they're going to have a laser printer there. That's usually what the big photocopiers are. And if you take your design there on a USB, then you can print it using theirs and then bring it home and complete the foiling process. Or you can do what I do with some of my larger prints. You can go to like a Staples or any sort of printing store, and you can have them print the image for you, but just make sure that it is on a laser printer. So, okay, so yeah, the first thing you need is your toner printed design. Now, if you don't want to buy like an iPad to do your own designs on, you don't have to. If you have a program like Word or even like Paint has the capability of typing in fonts if you have like a quote that you want to foil, and you can do it that way. And again, this is honestly just to get your toes wet to see if you even enjoy this process of foiling. So that can be a great way to start. Just use a simple program, use some fonts, print out your image, and then you're ready to start the actual foiling process. So if you don't want to spend the money right away to get the machine that I have, which I'll talk about in a little bit, you can get a basic laminator. The machine that I have is basically like a glorified laminator. It is larger though, so I can fit bigger prints in it. A lot of people have the Amazon brand laminator and they use it for foiling all the time, and it works great. So that can be a cheap alternative. I think it's around like $20 to $30. It's really inexpensive compared to getting the actual machine. And actually, one of my favorite artists on Instagram that does foiling is Cooper Calligraphy. She uses process videos all the time where you can actually see that Amazon laminator and the foiling going right through the machine. It's really satisfying. So check her out if you want to see that laminator in action, because I don't actually have one of those. But I'll also put a link in the description box for that laminator on Amazon. So you've got your design, you have your laminator, now you need your foil. So there's a few different foils out there, and I stick with 2 brands. I stick with the Heidi Swapp Mink foil and the ThermoWeb Deco foil. The Heidi Swapp foil comes in 2 sizes. This is the large size, which is 12 1/4 inches by 120 inches. The one thing that I don't really like about this foil is that it does have like a circular sticker that holds the foil from unraveling inside this box, and it can be a bit of a challenge to take off. Now I have noticed on some of the new foil that I've purchased, it has like a little cellophane wrap around it and then the sticker over top so it doesn't affect the foil. So they have improved that, but they have it in this size, and they also have the smaller size, which is 6¼ inches by 5 feet. So this smaller roll is a great way to get started because you can just cut the pieces that you want and you're not wasting quite as much, because this sometimes I find if you lay it down right on top, you do waste a lot of foil, especially if your phrase is only like this large. So you can get this one. So those two are the Heidi Swapp Mink foils. And then the other brand that I use is the ThermoWeb Deco foil. So I didn't realize, but this foil is also for fabric, so you can apparently use it on fabric too. I've never used it, I only use it for foiling paper, but so this comes in a smaller roll, and it's 6 inches by 12 inches, and there's 5 sheets of that size in here. So this one comes on one continuous roll, and this one is 5 separate sheets. So a lot of times people use this one for smaller like crafting projects, but these ones are really cheap. I buy all of my products on Amazon, and I think this one is usually anywhere between $6 and $8 Canadian. And the Heidi Swapp one is very similar as well to that price. And then the larger rolls of the Heidi Swapp are anywhere from like $11 all the way up to $20, because there's so many different color varieties and sometimes they're different prices. It's a good idea to have them stored in your cart, and then you'll get the notification if they go on sale and they're a little bit cheaper. That's when I buy them, because I'm cheap. So okay, we've got the design that's printed with toner, we have the laminator, and we have foil. And again, if you're just getting your toes wet, I would probably recommend this one because it's the cheapest, and you still get a good amount of foil in there. So we also need a transfer folder. Now, some people when they foil don't use a transfer folder at all, and you absolutely don't have to. I prefer to when I use my machine, because I have this like fear in my mind that I'm going to pass my design through my foiler and somehow it's gonna get like, I don't know, jammed in there and then start a fire. I don't know. It's totally irrational, and I'm sure it would never happen, but I just choose to put it in the transfer folder, and then I don't have to worry about it at all. But again, you don't have to. Cooper Calligraphy that I was talking about before, she doesn't use transfer folders when she goes through her Amazon laminators. So the transfer folders that I have are from Heidi Swapp. So this is what the package looks like when it comes. And it comes with 2 transfer folders that are 12¼ by 14 inches. So they are this size. Now, these sizes are not going to fit in a regular laminator, but you can actually cut them so that they'll fit. So it comes with 2 that are this size, and then 1 that is 6¼ by 12 inches long. So you can do smaller projects. I tend to make a lot of 8 by 10 prints, so I tend to use the larger transfer folder because it's obviously not going to fit in the smaller one. However, I do also make 5 by 7s and 4 by 6s, in which case I can use these. Or if I'm doing multiples, then you can lay multiple prints in at the same time. Now, that is all you need to get started. So you have your laser printed design, your laminator, your foil, and a transfer folder. Now, I print my designs on cardstock, but you absolutely don't have to. It's just a more durable paper. One thing to keep in mind though, that whatever paper you are using, you want to make sure it's the smoothest paper possible, because that is going to allow the foil to fuse properly with the toner that's on the page. Now that I've shown you everything that you need just to get your toes wet in foiling, I'm going to show you the actual process of what I do to foil. So here we go. Okie dokie, so I take my Fiskars paper trimmer and my 65-pound cardstock, which is from the brand Recollections, and I get it from Michael's for $6 for about 50 sheets, I believe it is. And I'm just trimming that sheet of paper down to an 8 by 10 inch size, because that is a standard photo frame size. And once I have my paper trimmed to the correct size, I head over to my computer and I send my design from my computer to my laser printer. And I just make sure that I have the settings on 8x10 size and high definition black only. Then I load my paper into the tray and it's ready to print my image. Now, again, if you're not purchasing a laser printer and you're getting your design printed elsewhere, just ignore this step because you will already have your design. Please ignore my awful camera skills. I borrowed this camera from my friend who is a photographer, and I am a crafter, not a videographer. Clearly, I don't know how to focus a camera. Anyways, moving on. I take my transfer folder, open it up, and I lay my design down with the toner facing upwards. Then I grab my foil and I carefully remove it from the package. And you want to make sure that you don't crinkle the foil at all or crease it because that will affect the quality of your foiled print. So very carefully, I unroll the foil and I lay it on top of my design so I can get a better idea of the size that I need to cut. Then I grab my scissors and I slowly start to cut. And I don't know if you're anything like me, but as soon as your scissors reach that point in whatever you're cutting where they just start to glide, oh yeah, that's my favorite part. Then, because I absolutely hate wasting craft supplies, I usually move the foil up a little bit and then fold down the edge, and I cut off what I know I won't need for this particular foiling project, and I set that aside. I actually have a basket that has all of my excess small pieces of foil so that I can use them for smaller projects down the road. Then I just close my transfer folder and I gently smooth out the foil. From there, I turn my mink to the heat setting 3, which is just a medium heat. I found that works best for 65-pound paper. Now I pick up my design in the folder and I make sure it's straight as I gently feed it into the machine. I also like to hold the edge of it just to minimize the bending of the paper as it feeds slowly into the machine. Once it hits a certain point though, I do let go, and then I come around to the other side and I wait for it to come out there, and I do the same thing as it comes out, just again to minimize that bending of the paper. It may look like I'm pulling it out, but I'm really not. You don't ever want to pull something out of a machine like this. You can wreck your machine and your design. Just be patient. I was going to speed up this whole process, but I thought, you know what, I will show you how painfully slow it is and how patient you have to be. One thing I really want to stress to you is how important it is to make sure that your design is 100% covered in foil. You have no visible toner spots that don't have foil on top of them before you feed it through the machine. If there are visible toner spots, what's going to happen is as you feed it through the machine, it's going to heat up, the toner's going to melt, and then it's going to stick to the transfer folder and it's going to be there permanently, which really sucks because when you go to use your transfer folder in the future, it's going to heat back up, the toner will melt that's on the folder, and it's going to stick to and ruin your new prints. So yeah, just make sure there's foil on everything before it goes through the machine. Alright, so now that everything is finished foiling, we get to do the fun part. We remove everything from the transfer folder. I just set that aside, and then my absolute favorite part is peeling off the foil. Ta-da! Okay, so maybe I lied. This is actually the most fun part. When you get to pick up the design and turn it in the light to see how pretty the foil actually shines. Alright, so I didn't actually film an outro to this video because I filmed about an hour and a half of footage, and then I ended up breaking it out into 3 separate videos, so please enjoy this B-roll of my foil drawer. And make sure you check back here on my channel because I will be posting a video that has all of the supplies and products that I use when I foil that aren't necessarily as budget friendly. I'm also going to be posting a video that has some tips and tricks for getting the best foiling results, as well as the highly requested foiled sticker tutorial video using a Cricut. Alright everyone, I really hope this video will help you guys get out there and make pretty things. Have a great day, cheers, and happy crafting!